So with our lovely Mr. G, I am for right now just using one of my blankets that I have from here. I know you guys had mentioned that when he has sometimes his target bed, which is like a little green Kong bed, he has gone to the restroom on it. So for some puppies, different textures create different responses. Some puppies think that sometimes harder textures are not normally where you go to the restroom at times, but instead grassy or squishy sort of textures may be more of the potty break zone. So for some pups, if let's say squishier bedding is a bit confusing or they tend to break it, I would highly recommend to start off with something that's not as plush. So for example, an inexpensive blanket, maybe even a towel. I know though at home he was kind of going for towels and finding them to be very appealing. So of course I probably have dog hair in my eyeball, but that's okay. So for example, for some puppies, towels, if they're way too exciting, I wouldn't use those as a target for now. So for example, when working with our handsome Mr. G right now, yes, find it, is I'm feeding him for any great little responses he's given me. So we were just doing, again, a couple find it's just to keep him moving while I'm blabbing. My neighbors are also moving some items around. So a lot of times as there's some banging or some noises, I want to go ahead and pair those noises with easy, simple skills that Mr. G has a very nice association with, because then what I can start to do is make those noises be the bringer of the good. Where a lot of times novel noises for a lot of dogs and puppies can be a bit flustering and overwhelming. Nice job, cuteness. He got his ear a little bit wet in the bowl. There we go. So when it comes to going to our better place behavior, I would highly recommend to pick a slogan. I believe you guys were using bed. So we would go ahead and I might lure him or help him get there. Yes. By sometimes showing him by following my hand onto the target. The other option, again, you could do free shaping, which is where you would almost, find it, sir, rolled out of my fingers, where you would be letting him on his own right there, yes. And when he goes to the mat all by himself, you would feed for any attempt getting closer and closer to the target mat. So right now we might go bed. I'm going to feed him for placing on the mat. In the beginning, I'm just simply feeding for being on the spot and then creating value in that bubble. If he offers a sit or a down, I'm going to capture those moments as well and feed for that response too. So with Mr. G right now, I'm making it where it seems more fun to be in the spot than to be out of it. So I'm feeding several goodies while building up eventually into a stay behavior, which again, you'd be only feeding while stationary. So right now we're just going to get up and wiggle. I don't feed him for getting off of the mat right now because I really want him to start thinking ready bed. That bed has the more value to the setup. So if let's say he's a little bit unsure, I sometimes will help him by placing myself near the mat so I can sort of help him physically target the bubble, because normally a lot of the fun happens in front of the handler. So we want to start building up value and again going to this target. If, for example, he's really having a hard time, I would assess, have his needs been met? So for example, has he used the restroom recently, which he just did, go outside, and he's had 2 very good successful potties outdoors. So he hasn't had any oopsies in here. I know we had the little bit of the overwhelmed sort of submissive pee for a moment. So ready, bed, and right there, feed for that. So, but Mr. G is doing a really good job going to the restroom outdoors. And again, anytime he's been eating, drinking, took a nap or played or did some training, those would be great moments to go out for a little potty break. So even if he breaks and gets off of the target mat, no big deal. Right now I'm just creating value when he's on that target. So then on his own, yes, I'm gonna go ahead and feed and capture that moment. If your puppy sometimes views the dog bed or the blanket as a play item or a potty place, I like to start pairing the bed with sometimes also feeding on the mat and then taking the item away as soon as we're not practicing. So if your puppy gets in the rhythm of sometimes getting a little bit confused with any sort of target mat, I'd take it out of the environment when you're not there to help him be set up for success. The other option too is, let's say, for example, we have a chew item. So I don't think I'm completely out of range, but let's say, for example, you've got a chew. You can also start to pair going to your target with relaxing and enjoying a special item. So that way, as you're practicing at home, maybe you want to load up the dishwasher or you want to take a little break from him and help him start practicing going to his little bubble, you can then go ahead and pair the going to your mat with a chew item. So the benefit of that is now while he's kind of relaxing in this space, he can also enjoy this pacifier and hopefully veg in that bubble. If you're finding he's really having a rough time with it, break it down into smaller steps. So if again your babe is not doing so well, address, well, what is my environment like? Is it maybe too stimulating? Could it be where he's maybe already really tired and maybe therefore he's not able to function or work the skill set? So if let's say Mr. G starts to meander with his toy because he doesn't quite know what to do about it, we could always take a little breather from the toy and then go back to working a bit with that stay. So again, I'm gonna get his attention with a little kissy noise, toss the snack. We're gonna save the little stinky hoof for a moment, and once he's done working a little bit with the stay, and then I'll give him back his lovely little chew item. So you'll see that when I go to take a little item out of the environment, I normally try to help my puppy go into some find it. So it's not as overwhelming with me just going and grabbing the item and swiping it from his face, even though he might be okay with it right now. We don't want it to be every time I come near you, I take your cool thing and make it disappear. So again, with Mr. G, we're gonna go ahead and bring him to his bed. I'm gonna first feed him for placing on the mat. So right now I'm not working the stay yet. I'm just feeding for being on the target mat. So again, feed while he's on there. I might wiggle my fingers, let him come off. Now again, I'm gonna go bed. See if he can go ahead and target that mat. And if he's a little bit wiggly, I'll just help him right there, yes. And then again, I'm gonna feed several snacks for being on the target mat. So we're just building, again, this value in this very weird behavior that would eventually equal relaxation, settle, and vegging on a target. So again, bed. Remember too that if your puppy is struggling with something else, you don't want to turn the bed or place behavior into something, oops, that's all right. So there we go. We had that little accident. My goodness, we did get a little confused. So if again, we're having some difficulty, no worries. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit.